Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back with another live stream of Hearthstone. Today is Monday, November 6th, and we are going through our daily quests, failing to get 2 victories with the Druid or Warrior, so I'm just going to take this other one and play 30 Shaman class cards, which will be interesting, so we should probably look. I'm also kind of failing to move forward as far as ranked play. I want to get to rank 20. I kind of have to. I don't want to have to put in a lot of effort into that though. We had Travis come on when I first started streaming, and then he had to go, and nobody else came on since then, so it's been quiet for about 30 minutes. So I guess that goes to say that even when people do come on and stream, there still is an inevitable truth that if nobody's on YouTube, that YouTube thinks I want to see. I'm not going to get new people to watch. That being said, new subscribers, 211 subscribers now. That's nice, I suppose. I would like to get to 1,000 subscribers. That would be nice. I'd like to do that in a more realistic amount of time than 2 or 3 years from now. I feel like I'm getting more subscribers now than I used to. Frankly, 1,000 to 10,000 even fake subscribers wouldn't be terrible. Even if they never watched anything. Just because that then opens the door to YouTube putting me at a tier of my channel where they actually care about you at least a little bit more. Not that they care about anybody that much. Let's get back to video game news. We may only have 2 streams today, 2 recordings. That's fine. That'll just get me more time to pre-record things since I basically took the weekend off. I don't know if I ever even talked about finishing Alice in Wonderland. It was kind of such an unimportant game, and we'll see how many copyright claims or anything like that come up. It'll be interesting because I guess if I'm not getting content ID claims right now when it doesn't have the title of Alice in Wonderland, there's really no reason that it should start doing content ID claims when I name it Alice in Wonderland. But I wouldn't be surprised if that did happen. World Player vs. Player is making a long overdue comeback to World of Warcraft. Which is weird because I thought it was the exact opposite of what was announced before, is that you had this opt-in. The first step is unifying everyone on one rule set. No longer will there be player versus everything or PvE versus player versus player servers, but individual PvP and PvE things. It means the eternal roadblock of what happens on a PvE server goes away. See, and I don't even know if PvE is player versus everything. Frankly, at this point, they should have a guide here of what PvP, PvE, and RTS all stand for. Well, this guy's not playing, so I don't know if I want to take the victory or just play all my cards. So yeah, I think it really is just the exact same thing. Pokemon Go refreshes its raid roster for the first time. Also, I believe all the old bosses in Pokemon Go, like Team Rocket and such, are not Pokemon Go. All the old bosses in the Pokemon main series are going away. No, not going away. They're coming back. So we're gonna see the leader of Team Rocket and Jesse and James and all of them coming back in the latest Pokemon game, which, okay, that sounds slightly exciting for the parents of the kids that watch Pokemon now. I'm sure the new kids don't really care at all. I'm just gonna hit him for 4 and then end the turn.
There's little time.
Raid times are now in Pokemon Go are now shortened from an hour to 45 minutes after the raid egg hatches. 10k egg hatch polygon is now a tier 3 raid and soloable, while Golem is tier 4. Let's see. So some of these tier changes are kind of confusing. I would recommend people look them up if they want to see it. Like tier 1, for instance, is Ivysaur, Charmeleon, Wordle, and Metapod. And I don't know enough about Pokemon Go to know what that all means. Here's a Eurogamer, probably ad. The Tokyo 42 Stealth Shooter has DLC expansion that's out now. I say it's probably an ad because I've never seen anybody really bother to give any time to Tokyo 42 except for this website, and it doesn't look that interesting of a game, and yet I've seen a lot of articles about it. Wait, before we do that, let's just make sure we didn't already do our quest. Now, we only played like 7 cards. That's what I thought, but yeah, I'm really starting to think I don't have much of any news. They've done something with full-size ATX towers now. They're putting the power supplies at the bottom, which is different from the last one I bought, but I haven't bought a computer tower in a while because I just have been reusing the same one over and over again. At this point, I want to buy like a server bay hot swap case and just put my next computer in that. That way, there's so much room for hard drives that it can. Well, the truth is I already have a case like that, so I just want to put one case like that on top of the other case like that, in case I ever need to build 2 servers. And I'm not sure if there's a great way to interconnect those without putting another computer in it. There probably isn't. But that's not a terrible thought either. Just keeping things a little bit separate. At the end of the day, both servers are still in my house, and if my house burns down, it all gets destroyed. Speaking of fires, there's a giant recall for Kitty fire extinguishers. KIDDIE. Apparently they've been pretty low quality fire extinguishers that were always really cheap, and that's why a lot of people bought them, and now there's a giant recall for basically everything they've sold in the past few decades. Assassin's Creed Origin finally confirms that the Watch Dogs is set in the same universe, which is to say really nothing, because like that was always the idea, at least from a construction viewpoint. The idea was they were never going to set Assassin's Creed in the present day or future day, and instead they were going to do Watch Dogs and just keep it a little unconnected. And that was so that they didn't have to deal with the whole Templars and Assassins factor in Watch Dogs, and they could go their own route while they still kind of just wink and nod and pretend like they're in the same universe, but it won't matter. Like there's some weirdness actually with that, because even the Assassin's Creed universe was making Assassin's Creed feel more like a video game and less like the genetic memory of Assassins and Templars. Even they were getting away from that concept. I should have played that first, but whatever. Microsoft is looking to acquire more studios to boost its first-party game output. Phil Spencer says it needs to create content. I agree. We should always encourage everybody to create content, even somebody like Microsoft who just about a year ago shut down Lionshead Studios, the makers of Fable, because Peter Molyneux, I believe, had left the company and they really just wanted him. So you see these cycles come and go. The idea that they need to create more content is true, but they probably will acquire some companies and shut them down. There's a lot of weirdness and a lot of just in general bad ideas that are done in Microsoft. Let's see if I do this and then do this and then do this and then do that. Somebody's spectating me. Interesting. Maybe he's got to watch and learn. Maybe I'll actually win and help him with the watch and learn. Last stream I had a challenge a friend and couldn't get anybody to challenge me, so I ended up just in the post show playing my secondary account and giving myself 80 gold, which doesn't really help anything. I'm not going to ever use that secondary account for anything. Watch Dogs 1 is free on PC tomorrow through the Uplay element. Here's the problem, like, I don't think you can get it through Steam. And so if you get a game through Uplay, I don't feel like you then have the rights through this Valve Steam store, and it says you don't own it. So if I get something free on Uplay, which this has happened several times because they give out free games, like, I will probably just accidentally rebuy it, and then there'll just be a mess about that. And so for the most part, I don't partake in getting free games like that. Now if it's free on Steam, I'll take it, certainly. I'm willing to do the disclosure that is necessary and helpful if I get a game for free on Steam, but I really need all the games, since I have so many of them, to be in one place. And frankly, I'd like to just see Uplay fall apart and no longer continued, because it's ridiculous. Jim Sterling was making an argument that Assassin's Creed Origins technically has 4 pieces of DRM in it, because it has De Novo, it has Steam, it has Uplay, And it has another system called something along the lines of what was it called? Something VM secure or something. So like a significant amount of DRM in it, and then people wonder why it has trouble running on PCs. Ghost Story Games, formerly known as Irrational Games, is making an immersive simulator, so that's weird. Let's see, in February, 12 developers from Irrational Games of System Shock 2 and Bioshock announced their new studio, Ghost Story. Later merged that they're working on a small-scale open-world game that drew inspiration from the Shadow of the War's Mordor Nemesis system, which at this point, if you say you're making a game based off the Nemesis system, that's not even a good thing. What did he do to summon those? Let's see. Kalamos Primal Lord. So what is this sim? The news comes from a job listing in the studio which is looking for someone to join the art team on the game, described as an ambitious project of in the immersive sim genre. The game will be built on Unreal Engine 4 and it feature heavy environmental storytelling. Judging by the listing, it's looking for someone that likes narrative first-person shooters and is experienced in first-person shooters and semi-open, e.g. Borderlands, Shadow of Mordor, or open-world games. Would you call Borderlands or Shadow of Mordor semi-open world games? Like, I think that's a odd description. Like, Borderlands 1 particularly is mostly an open world game. Like, there are big open world sections that take you into smaller linear sections, but I would just call it an open world game, kind of a small open world game. Does the game have to be just a giant open field to be considered an open world game in their minds? Well, apparently this guy left. He saw the writing on the wall. So, like, what could this be about, though? Like, this idea of an immersive simulator, an immersive sim. It's not like it's not gonna be The Sims.
The elements
and if it has a Nemesis system, like, how do you put a Nemesis system in an immersive sim? Like, none of this lines up with anything that makes any sense to me. Let's see, and I know the mistake I'm making here is I'm trying to put Bioshock in here, and this is almost certainly not a Bioshock game. But I'm trying to think, like, in Bioshock, if you were playing as just Andrew Ryan and you were running all of Rapture and you were running a simulator, then where does the Nemesis system come in? And how is a sim in a open world element? Like, they must have some kind of gameplay concept here that makes sense. Because the only thing I can think is that this is a small scale open world full of plants and no people, and you're going to be growing plants in such a way that they interact with each other to create, like, more platforms, something along the lines of Grow Up, but then also has a Nemesis system of some other kinds of weeds that grow, and so it's kind of a strategy game. Or maybe you put some enemies in there that try to destroy your plants. Like, that's the best I can even think of like something like that. Like, there's too many concepts here, and frankly, I bet they don't even know what the game is at this point. And so that'll be very interesting to look back and see what actually gets announced, if anything ever does actually get announced based on this, which there's a good chance. Moving on, Intel joins forces with AMD to battle NVIDIA, which doesn't make a lot of sense because I'm pretty sure Intel owns NVIDIA, but that's what this article says. A core processor with a custom Radeon and graphics could be a game changer. So is Intel saying we're going to now, in some limited aspects, put Radeon integrated graphics on our low-end processor? See, the Wall Street Journal broke the news early hours of the morning. Intel's posted the official announcement confirming the collaboration and exploring its reasons. Currently, most enthusiast mobile PCs have Intel Core H series processors plus higher powered discrete graphics, resulting in systems that average 26mm in height. Compare this to the thin, light laptops that are trending down to 16mm. So this very well might just be an example of NVIDIA not being able to get the height down and the weight down. Compare this to thin and light laptops that are trending to 16mm or less, with some even as thin as 11mm. We wanted to find a way to improve this, he said. So it's called the Embedded Multi-Core Bridge. But yeah, this really feels like just we're kind of abandoning discrete graphics in favor of letting AMD do it. And let's see, they're showing an interconnect bridge where the CPU is directly connecting to the GPU, which the interconnect bridge in the old days was called a bus, and that's what you would interconnect everything with. But I guess the idea is this is now maybe an east bridge or a west bridge instead of a north bridge and a south bridge. Or maybe that is even wrong. And then they're putting high bandwidth memory right next to the video card, the GPU, which then means that the CPU can't access the memory as quickly as it would like to, but that wouldn't be really a terrible thing if the GPU, which is probably faster at accessing memory anyways, was in charge of handling all the memory. The one thing that looks very odd here is this is a mobile on top of a circuit board connection, and if it became something like a socket where you could pull both of them out and replace them as one unit, it would be a very wide rectangular socket to pull that out and put it back. But the actual images of what they've got right now, at least the mock-ups of what they've got right now, is just a big bunch of square chips. And Intel CPUs aren't very square even to begin with, they're more rectangular. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Intel doesn't have anything to do with NVIDIA anymore. But AMD used to be more with ATI. Like AMD and ATI are, I think, the same companies. I think both of them pretty much merged together. Alright, well I only need to play 2 more cards and then I'm done so I can see. Here we also have some news from Microsoft. Microsoft asked the now disbanded Runic Games to make another Fable title and very nearly published Torchlight. So, Runic Games recently was shut down, and I think inherently the people in Runic Games didn't want to make things they didn't want to make. So, it wouldn't be surprising if the rest of that story is they were asked to make a Fable title and they said no, and Runic almost became a part of the Plants vs. Zombies developer PopCap. So yeah, they really did everything in their possibility to hold on to their independence to the point in which they got shut down probably for it. There's a modder on the quest of preserving Nintendo's forgotten Flash games. Nintendo has a lot of websites over the years, over the decades, and a lot of them did have Flash games, and one would hope that there's some preservation efforts that are actually succeeding on keeping all of those websites. I know there were specific times where, like, every single time you visited Nintendo, it would randomize or change the website, and so it's almost an impossible way of impossible to preserve thing. One would hope the Wayback Machine could do that and did do that, but who knows. Zyn Pinball Developers and Studios is getting into indie publishing, so I don't know what, let's see what they are going to publish though. Are they just going to publish their own games, or are they publishing something different than a pinball game? Let's just see if we can actually win here.
Job's done. Get down!
Like, there's a lot of thing about being an indie publisher too. I suppose you could be an indie publisher for like the mobile market and still have somebody publish the console versions. Moving on. There wasn't a lot of news, actually, now that I look at it. Dota 2 has a turbo mode that apparently is the best thing that Valve has added to the game in years. According to this article.
Job's done.
A fun knockabout for veterans and a decent intro experience for new players. So let's see what it says. Dota 2 Turbo, more gold, more XP, buy anywhere, weaker towers, faster respawns. Now, I don't think I'd ever want to actually play Dota because it still is probably way too long of a game, and once you get out of turbo mode, it is going to be too long of a game. But having a turbo mode does make a lot of sense. If Hearthstone had a turbo mode, I would play it a lot. Here's that article from Friday. How much say do developers have in their schedules? And it kind of depends. Like, it depends. Are you working for somebody else, or is this your company and you're the person in charge? And it really is just one of those things where you'll get 20 different answers from 20 different companies, but all the answers are going to be relatively bad. Like, no developers don't have much say in their schedules. Which in itself may not be a bad thing, because well, we don't want people missing their release date, which happens a lot. Particularly in Japanese games, they seem to miss and push back their release dates with impunity. Here's an article that doesn't really matter, and let's see if this works. Well, I got lucky there. The gigantic developer Motiga is shut down, I believe. Motiga was also wrote Runic Games, so this is really just saying that Runic Games has been shut down again. And you're looking at a picture here of a bunch of people that are now out of a job, sadly. Snippet Clips will finally get Pro Controller support when its big expansion arrives next week. And deal 2 damage and kill that, and do that. Here's an article about fake languages in video games, which is not really news either. The Humble Store, the Humble Bundle, apparently is keeping its title because its website still works, at least for now, but they have completely changed their name now to whatever their new name is, and they did that really quickly, like more quickly than I thought that they would get away with that. Like, so I don't know now that IGN owns them, if they're going to just kind of officially be under one name but also allow you to still go to the Humble Store, which I guess kind of works, or if eventually as soon as all the Humble sales go away, like Humble Jumbo Bundle 10 goes away in 7 days, so maybe in 7 days that will stop happening. And let's go back to Twitter. Let's look and see how long we've been. We got about 12 more minutes, so I think we'll just skip over and quickly look at the European and Asian accounts, but then we're just going to go into silent play. There wasn't really a lot to talk about, and in a weird way, even if I had over the weekend pre-recorded footage and played Hellboy like I intended to do, there still wouldn't have been a lot to talk about. Mondays are always kind of laid back days. There's not a lot of news unless I skip some news on Fridays. Basically what happens is all the news comes out late Monday, even later than when I'm streaming, or it comes out on Tuesday, and then we have a decent amount of news for Wednesday, and then more news comes out usually for Friday, and then everybody takes the weekend off.
Elements guide me.
Let's see. Heck, if I draw one more card that does some damage. Let's see, I'm just scrolling down Twitter now just to see if there was any new announcement. Nothing really. The only thing is log in today and get that new card, and new legendary card that we didn't even use. And that's kind of all there is to it. So quit here and let's load into the European account. Since we're done, I think we'll probably just open card packs.
There you are, the life of the party.
Linus Tech Tips is at Monolith Productions. I don't like Linus Tech Tips, honestly, because his videos are too simplistic. So I need to play 50 druid cards and then either 30 hunter cards or win 2 cards, and I think it would probably be smarter just to play 50 druid cards and then play 30 hunter cards and trade this one out, and these will come back in one day. So we'll be doing Tavern Brawls all Wednesday, and then let's go over to the Asian account, because I don't think I've even shown the Asian account lately. Come on, is there anything else?
Hold on to your mug. We're in for a while.
Injustice 2 is free to play right now, or Injustice 1 is free to play right now on Twitch, but I really don't want to get into a free to play game. I kind of wish there was more of a ability to just buy the game and have everything. Let's see. What's funny is I spent almost all this weekend watching movies, and there wasn't even that many new tweets out. See, I can't trade this. So the right move here is to play Warlock and Shaman cards and try to play ranked. And apparently I don't have any card packs. Interesting. Did I could have sworn I did. And I've been trying hard not to craft to open packs when people aren't watching, because there's really no reason for that. In a lot of ways, I could probably start not opening packs at all on the European and Asian accounts. Maybe I'd like some feedback on that until the next expansion, because yeah, that would let me do larger card pack openings for longer amounts of time. Yep, that's it really for all the news. And since we only got a little bit of people talking on the chat, one person, Travis, thanks, and since there's no more things for me to talk about, we're just gonna go over to the post-game show, like muted post-game, that's what it's called. That's the phrase I made up. And we were in this recording just slightly short because of that, about 6 minutes, but so what? Like, how many times have I gone over 10, 20, 30 an hour? So once we'll go short. That's gonna be it for this this episode. Stay tuned if you want to watch muted post play. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.